Hi everyone and welcome to Warhammer. We're your hosts, Jack
And Dan.
Today we're going to talk about something a little bit different again as usual.
Yeah, we're both very excited. So we wanted to make a short form video about this. Tell us why. Tell them all why we were so excited this time.
Here? Why is there an extra video than usual? But yes, so basically there's going to be a 40k, little small, one story animation coming out on Amazon Prime.
Fantastic.
I'm super looking forward to it. So this is basically, what can we expect basically? Because, Henry Cavill's going to be doing his TV show. Is this some sort of like testing the waters per se beforehand? Is this GW opening the doors a bit more to their animations? Because again, they took it all in-house, didn't they? They strapped everyone and brought animations just to themselves. This is the first another step outside of their not so much comfort zone but their zone.
Definitely. It's definitely a big change in terms of what GW has been doing with animation and 40k TV, if you like. And also there's been an awful lot of chatter online about what does this mean in relation to Cavill's project, because obviously no disrespect to the animation, but that's what we're all interested in waiting for. But there's a good reasons to be excited about this animation as well.
Yeah, there is. Now there's touchy waters for me with animations in the past. We've talked about in other podcasts about how I dislike how they handle animation. So I would really hope that this is, again, as you say, like a breakthrough in terms of like maybe allowing more creative control to the fan base and maybe to other people out there.
So the TLDR there was some guys making fantastic animations, but third-party ones on YouTube that weren't licensed by GW, and they shut them all down. Or bought them in-house, basically, didn't they? But so this is the kind of return of them allowing third parties to make animation.
Quite possibly. Yeah. So don't go out there making animations because you'll probably still get cease and desist. But hopefully this is a better step towards it. But Dan, bit of background. What's going on?
So yes, the background obviously, as we said, is there will be a Warhammer 40,000 animation on Amazon Prime. That's what GW has announced. It's going to be a standalone episode, and it's based on the forthcoming Space Marine 2 game. So there's a nice tie-in there. Yeah. And that means that the protagonist and the hero is going to be none other than Dimitri and Titus, who we all know and love from Space Marine 1. Now, Titus will be voiced by the same actor who voices him in the new video game. That's not the guy who voiced him in Space Marine 1, but he's a guy called Clive Standen, and Clive will be known to some TV fans as he played Rollo in the hit show Vikings. And the title episode of this animation is Chaos, which gives us obviously a pretty good hint about what we can expect there. Yeah, which faction might it be? Yeah. So that's good. But tell us more, Jack. Why is it only one episode?
It's a shame it's only one episode, but it makes perfect sense. Yeah. So basically, it's going to be called Secret Level. So what's called?
Yeah, that's the series, isn't it?
That's the series. What it's called? Yes. Basically, it's going to be obviously in the same universe as Warhammer. They're trying to keep it condensed as much as possible so that all the information is lore relevant.
Right.
So they want it like that. But the reason for it's only going to be one episode for us because this series is basically multiple games added together. So it's 15 different games, I believe.
Right, nice.
So there's basically, I'll run through this real fast. There's the God of War, Ghost of
Tsushima. Ghost of Tea.
Ghost of Tea, I like it. Yeah. Sifu, I think that's how you pronounce it. Warhammer 40k, Unreal Tournament, New World, Dungeons and Dragons, The Outer Worlds, Pac-Man, I love that being Honor of Kings, Armored Core, Mega Man. Yep.
Exodus.
I'm awful. Again,
Spelunky.
Go ahead, Dan. Yeah. Crossfire and Concord.
So there's some massive names in there like Dungeons and Dragons. Ghost of Tsushima is huge. God of War is a huge game. There's some, but interestingly, the ones they've picked there are all quite deep. There's lore to mine, isn't there? There's a lot
there. There's lots there, and obviously this is there's already some little snippets. I don't know if I can put it on screen, but I'll put what I can on little stills and whatnot. Yeah, but it looks fantastic. Like the creators who've obviously done this, they've done it before, and it's worked really well in the last 2 seasons. Yes, which I think we'll get onto very shortly. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's really
absolutely.
But when's it coming out?
Yeah, so it's slated for release on December the 10th. That's this whole series, not just the 40k one. So a nice early Christmas present for us. Yeah. And it's going to be streaming exclusively on Prime Video across more than 240 countries. So even if you're not watching this from the UK, we should all be able to watch this. Fingers crossed.
Good. Very nice.
Will it be any good?
It's a good question.
You see, we've been here before with adaptations, and fans are always a little bit nervous about.
Like again, you're going to third parties, and other people having maybe a creative control. People get worried. You know, we've seen the same for like Lord of the Rings inside of Amazon Prime.
Halo cough.
Halo. I don't want to mention that. I feel like I mention it all the time. But honestly, I mean, flat out, it's hard to say it's going to be good. We have no better insight than anybody else out there watching our video. But maybe just to back up, kind of. Maybe my perspective on the creators. So it's going to be from the creators of Blur Studio.
Yes.
Now those guys, in my eyes, fantastic.
Top tier
animators. They are also going to be basically working with the creators of Love, Death and Robots.
Yes,
is that the same ones?
Yeah, Blur Studio, the guys behind Love, Death and Robots, and they've done a few other things. So you did a bit of research into this because if you haven't seen many of our previous podcasts, Jack is our resident animation expert.
I do like animation.
These guys have. You said they've also done
a few different games out there. So my favorite was the Halo. So again, going back to Halo, I always tie somehow back to Halo. So the Halo 2 cinematics and other Halo games like Halo Wars, they participated in doing some of the animations for those.
You see, even I'm not a massive Halo fan, but I remember the Halo 2 cinematics because when they came out, everybody's jaw dropped. You were just like, wow, this is fantastic.
The Blur Studios revamped those when it comes to the Halo 2 cinematics when they got re-released.
Yes.
With the Halo Master Chief Collection. So
right.
Unreal seeing those cinematics being basically revamped and revisited because they deserve to be like upgraded, and Blur Studio done a fantastic job in upgrading them. But they didn't just stop there though. They also worked on Gears of War A-Day. Now I thought this was really good to mention because Gears of War is quite a gritty scene, it's quite full of death, full of just dirt kind of thing.
It's definitely got quite close to the grimdark aesthetic, isn't it? It's closer than Halo anyway.
Well, that's it. So Halo is kind of like that. The match health. I mean, it fits all the criteria for me. Halo. It's probably bad because I'm very biased with Halo. But I mean, Gears of War again. Yeah. So it's E-Day. It was very gritty. It was very dark.
It shows it can do that, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's the one. And maybe another one. It's good to kind of compare it against. Is they also worked on Deadpool. Now, if everyone remembers rightly, Deadpool was leaked. Their animation was leaked at the very start because Deadpool was going through a phase of not being potentially released.
It was in development hell.
Exactly. So somehow the animation that was made by Blur Studio was leaked.
Right.
And that took off massively. And now Deadpool has 3 films by themselves.
Yeah. Now, this is really interesting that you raised this point off camera, and I hadn't thought of it this way because it was very clear that leak was a tactical leak to try and generate hype to get the film finished and released.
Yep.
And this almost feels the same, it could it's a similar opportunity for GW. It's like it's a way to say, right, and Amazon, let's test the water, let's see how it goes, and then, if this generates the hype and reaction we expect, then maybe that'll give them the confidence to give Cavill wheelbarrows full of cash to go and make his show.
Let's hope. Yeah, it is hope. But so I mean, they've worked on loads more. Another one to mention is probably Avatar. We all know what Avatar is.
Smurfs,
exactly.
Exactly. I disparage it, but I do enjoy. I do like Avatar.
But the thing is that even if you didn't like Avatar, you got to respect the visual effects,
quality of
and that's what we're really looking at for this. So, I honestly think they're in good hands. It is now, which I think it always boils down to, is that the creativity control. They have the assets, they've got the aesthetics.
Yes.
More right. Well, now we've got the building blocks. Give us that vital building block of creative control.
Yeah.
Let us make the vision of what people want. So let's hope.
And you would like to think if it's tied in with the narrative of the Space Marine 2 game that they've been given some really strong foundations from GW in terms of the direction they can take it in.
Let's hope.
And then fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, I mean, you can probably this is probably a redundant question, but are you excited about it?
Yes. I am. No, I am. Because again, just based on all those factors we've already mentioned, I love Death and Robots.
Yeah.
2 fantastic series. Blur Studios, they've got a good track record. I think it's safe to say I'm excited. Again, am I worried? Also, yes, because we need to make sure they've got the good creative control and the right flexibility to make what they need.
We've touched on this before in our regular Cavill updates, but there's 40k is such a beloved lore that there is an anxiety always from fans about when a third party gets the opportunity to do this, are they going to fuck it up?
Exactly.
But the track record that Blur Studio have got leads us to believe that this is going to be a real. They've got a better chance than anybody else we could think of to do a fantastic animation.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I'm also excited. I'm also a little more sanguine about it in that I'm not like. Again, we've talked about this in the past, but things like the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, it wasn't great, but I still quite enjoyed it because I love Lord of the Rings, and I'm kind of like that with 40k. Like, even if this animation wasn't great, like some of the ones GW have done themselves on Warhammer Plus have been good, but maybe it's not amazing.
Well,
and I've been like, oh, I'm happy with that. Do you know what I mean?
So it's what I've said to you before. Animation itself, when people think, oh, what's good animation, what's bad animation, you don't have to have good animation to tell a good story.
Yes.
Animation is all about, does the animation tell the story?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what form that animation takes, as long as it tells a story.
Yeah.
That's what matters. You got those 2D, I mean, if you look at Wallace and Gromit, for example,
Yeah.
is that good animation?
Yeah.
Of course it's good animation.
Yeah.
But comparing that to a CGI cinematic, they're two different things. So
yes.
Just don't get your mind in a headspace of that. It has to be this top tier level. It has to tell a story.
And having said that, most of excuse me, I've got an itchy eye today. Most of if you looked at Blur Studios content, it is top level animation.
Oh, it is, of course it is.
And it's not just, it doesn't just look pleasing to the eye. It's good. Like, it tells tells a great story.
Mm-hmm.
So all the elements are there. There's a good reason to be excited about it as far as I'm concerned and as far as you're concerned.
Oh yeah.
So but what does it mean for Cavill show is
it's interesting.
That's been.
Do you reckon he's mad? He's like, how dare they get in front of me before I want to make money?
Yeah. No, probably not. And I think it was. I feel a bit for Blur Studio and GW because they've announced this and everybody went, "That's great. What does it mean for Cavill show?" Yeah. Maybe we should focus, like we've just done, is focus on the animation first. We're getting an animation, that's good.
Yeah.
But we do need to address that question still as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what GW said, they issued it because they knew this question was coming. So right at the bottom of their announcement, they issued this following couple of sentences. It says, "This standalone animation is a separate project from the Warhammer 40,000 TV and film projects we've previously announced. Those are still in development.
Good.
We'll share more news about them as soon as we can."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, what development is in
Development.
is
It's a loose word, right?
That's exactly it. It can mean a multitude of things in TV land, can't it?
Certainly can.
I would like to think that by the tone of that and the language they're using about saying it's that they're going to bring us more updates, etc., with an exclamation mark at the end, it sounds quite positive.
Yeah,
it would be a bit disingenuous of GW to issue that statement and then say we're not making it.
It would be a bit silly.
Am I clutching at straws there? I don't know.
Well, it's interesting though because December 10th, that's when this comes out. But when does because we talked last time about the podcast, when does the contract get refreshed?
It's just before Christmas.
Just before Christmas.
So
do you reckon this is going to be a key factor in terms of if the TV show will continue?
So if you're not aware of this, GW signed a contract with Amazon to spend 12 months agreeing creative guidelines for the live action Henry Cavill show, and that was in December 2023.
Yep.
So mid-December 2024, this December is when that 12 months runs out.
Yeah.
We've done another video about that a couple of weeks ago. Go and check that out.
Definitely.
So yes, I don't think there's enough time to gauge reception unless the 40k episode was like the first one. But
that is true, actually.
Yeah,
unless they all release them all at once.
Or they release them all at once, indeed, yes.
Unless they ask me, like, hey, can you please release this like day one so we can get some good insight?
I mean, for me, the fact that they could agree guidelines with Blur Studios to make this is a very good indicator that GW is going to be able to agree guidelines with Amazon for the live action show as well. Yeah. It shows that they are willing and able to work with third parties.
That's true. Yeah.
It's a different relationship because Blur Studio is smaller than GW.
Sure.
So we've talked about this before. And in those instances for licensing, GW says you can license it, but you do as we say. Yeah. Whereas with Amazon, you can't say that.
Exactly.
So that's why we're having this 12-month period where these two can kind of play nice and agree this rather than one dictating to the other. But as you said, I don't think it's going to be a decider on whether the Cavill project happens.
No.
But if this, given we're still at early stages on the Cavill project, it's in development.
Yeah.
If this animation gets rave reviews, will that positively impact the speed and the size and the scale of the Cavill project, do you think?
I think size and scale, yes. Speed-wise, probably not. I think Henry likes to get things... Yeah, he likes to get it right.
Yeah.
Is the key indication on that part.
Yes.
So I think GW might try and speed it up, but I think Henry will try and be like, no, look, let's get it right. If we get it wrong... It's gonna fail.
The two kind of it's not always an indicator. Like we've all seen games and TV shows that take like years to come out and then are not as good as expected. It's typically a sign of a trouble project. But equally, you can't have good and fast really very often at the same time.
Correct.
Particularly the amount of like post production they have to do on this in terms of CGI and special effects.
Well,
and all that.
that's it. This is completely random, but Corridor Digital actually just done a really good video on rushed animations,
right?
And rushed like visual effects.
Oh yeah.
So it's not a case of like the injury because it's like people blame studios whenever you look at Marvel for example. Some of their animations over the last couple of years, their CGI has been really bad, and people are blaming the studios, being like, oh that why hire that studio? They obviously do a bad job. It's not the studio's fault. It's that rush development stage of getting them out. Some companies out there are working on 3 different Marvel projects at the same time.
Yeah.
And having to jump between the different projects that are maybe completely different from each other doesn't help that studio. So again, with Blur being a small one, I really hope they aren't rushed in terms of getting the quality out, because if they try and get the quality out fast, the quality is going to drop.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good point.
And again, it's not a case of that, going back to that thing I mentioned before, just because the animation is bad doesn't mean that the story and what it's trying to tell is bad.
Yeah.
But there is a difference there's a key difference at that stage of a rushed animation and a good animation, because if you are trying to go for a good animation, if you rush it, it's going to be bad, which would then tell a bad story.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of really be careful on that.
They're interlinked, aren't they? Very much. Yeah. But I do feel like you raised a great point that they are kind of emulating the Deadpool strategy of using an animation to kind of test.
I think it's good. I think it's smart to do. Animation wise, because I mean, TV and such, it's probably arguably a bigger topic, or a bigger kind of kettle of fish, if you will, to nail.
Yeah.
So animation, a one story thing, and again, I mean, if we look at, because they've got their own Space Marine animation on their website currently, don't they?
Yes.
So this is strange that they're getting a different studio outside of their kind of cluster to animate for them. So again, this might be a good stepping stone for them to test the waters to see, does it work? It does. Let's do more.
Good.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. To conclude, I mean, the good news is we're getting 4K content on Amazon Prime, so that something is definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that can only be good news, and I think it bodes well for the rest of it. The not so good news is it's not a guarantee that Cavill's project will happen. There's no guarantee still there yet.
No, I think so.
The signs are good.
Yeah.
But until we actually get an official yes from then.
We've got no clue. This is actually probably a good way for getting to get my girlfriend more into the hobby, because she loves Love, Death and Robots.
Oh, brilliant!
We're both massive fans of it. So
right.
I might just not actually, unless she's watching. So if she's watching, okay. But if she's not, I might just be like, oh, let's watch Love, Death and Robots. This episode looks great. I've heard really good things about this one. It's all Warhammer. I'm just sitting there like,
love it.
I might try and sneak her into it. But overall, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited, nervous, yes, of course, but I think overall, everyone should be looking forward to it.
Good, excellent, thank you. All right, well, really enjoyed that. It was a good chat. Hope you did as well. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are about this animation, and also what it means to the Cavill project. Are you excited for the animation? Are you worried about it? We'll be back soon with some more updates. And there's a lot going on in this Cavill sphere still at the moment, so we're not going to make a video every week about it. But when something important like this happens, we'll be back.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.